So I was telling the third importance of face-to-face interview. In face-to-face interview, a person comes to know the real wishes of the person to work for this company. The third one, the types in face-to-face interview, there are 2-3 types. The first one is group interview. In group interview, what happens? Not a single interviewee, not a single candidate is appeared, rather number of candidates, more than one candidates are there, and they all ask at once, at one time, number of candidates, number of applicants, they are being questioned. Maybe the interviewer may one or two or a group. So if the candidates are more than one, it is called this interview is called the group interview. Why this interview taken place? It also has importance and significance. The very first one is the interviewer and the job giver, he tries to know whether these number of people, first of all it takes place when a great company or big company wants to take number of people, number of candidates for their job. So if a company wants just 2-3 candidates, so this interview can't take place, doesn't take place. Only when a large number of candidates are required, this interview takes place. So what happens here? The interviewer wants to know the ability of all the candidates. So what happens? The interviewer gives some problems, some questions to all the groups, and he says them and he tells them, you please all sit together and solve the problem. So all the candidates, they have conversation, then they give answer. Here the interviewer looks carefully to all the candidates who is the best, who is answering in a very good manner, fantastic manner, and without any fear, and who is using his intellect, his logic. And so interviewer has a great eye on the all the persons. So here in group interview, all the candidates, they have interaction, then they give answer. So it is called group interview. So after that we have panel interview. Panel interview. What happens in panel interview? The interviewer is more than one, multi-interviewers. So if the interviewer is more than one, it is called panel interview. You know, in many sectors, in many educational field as well, what happens when the candidate comes to the office, he'll find number of people to take interview. Sometimes what happens, a person becomes shocked. Here number of interviewers are there, but I thought there will be only one person to take my interview, but here number of people are there. So that's why before going to the office, we have to learn, we have to ask the person whether my interview is being taken by one person or by a panel of the group. So it is our duty, it is our responsibility. Before going there, we have to confirm whether one person is taking interview or more than one. If it is one, then it is called face-to-face interview. If it is more than one, it is called panel interview. So before going that, we have to prepare mentally also, because though sometimes we are very good at our skill, but if we see number of people taking interview, all of a sudden it creates a bit fear and scarcity in our hearts. So that's why sometimes we lose our confidence and we lost the interview. So that's why we have to come before we go there. So in panel interview, as I told you, number of people they take interview. In here, the chairman is there, chairperson who takes his seat. Then it differs according to the company. Sometimes HR department, from one person from HR department, one from employees, and one from finance person. So all the chairperson invites some key personalities of the company. They sit together and they start questioning, and they ask the plenty of questions. They see the ability and caliber of the candidates. Then they go to decide whether he is able or not. So it is called panel interview. Then we have another interview, another type of interview, that is called behavioral interview. behavioral interview. By this name you could understand, in behavioral interview what happens, a interviewer asks about the experiences and performance of the candidate in the past. So in the past, what the candidate has done, what was his job, what was his attitude, and why he resigned from the early job, why whether he resigned or he was kicked out from the job. So these questions are asked. So from the past attitudes, from the past experiences, the interviewer comes to know whether this person is able to work in our side or not. So it is called behavioral interview. And this behavioral interview is also very important, because if a person does very well in the past, it means that he'll do better in future. So because of this behavioral interview is also conducted.